There's no media narrative I like more than a self-defeating media narrative. I'm seeing it increasingly in the headlines from the legacy media these days of trying to cause this sort of contrast between Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre, implying that somehow Justin Trudeau is the normal, comfortable kind of leadership style between the two men. And I don't think it's going to work out the way that the media thinks. I think, and this is just my theory, that at this point, what Canadians kind of are looking for is effectively everything that is the absolute opposite of Justin Trudeau. This is where Pierre Poilievre, I think, is going to do very, very well in the next election because I think people are looking for the contrast and change. This is also why I don't think that Jagmeet Singh is going to go absolutely anywhere. One, this is going to be in the next election his third time around the loop, and I don't think anyone is particularly going to be taking a hard third look at him this time. As well as the fact that he's basically every single thing that Justin Trudeau is, but just a little bit more intense. You know, his policies are effectively advertising the same failed liberal policies, but just wanting to do them even harder. You know, he advertises himself as the more slick, polished version of Justin Trudeau, which is, I don't think you can even get more sort of artificial than Justin currently is, but Jagmeet Singh is always trying. And then contrast that with Pierre Poilievre, who tends to be a little bit more down to earth, or I guess a lot more down to earth. I don't know why I'm hedging with softer language, but he's very different from Justin Trudeau. He's a lot more sort of like hard hitting in his commentary about the country. He's far more direct about the things he's talking about, and he doesn't tend to resort to sort of emotional appeals the same way Justin Trudeau does. I think a lot of Canadians at this point are getting quite tired of emotion being put before the actual, functioning of the government on how well is the government actually performing. I don't care how much the government cares for me. I don't care about how much the politicians are, emotionally invested in certain events and communities and policies. I just want the policies to actually be good. And that's what Pierre Poilievre is delivering. But the media doesn't seem to clue into the fact that this is the contrast is probably one of Pierre Poilievre's best assets, because I see a cavalcade of articles basically saying, like, in the midst of the wildfires, oh, like Pierre Poilievre is being so tough on Justin Trudeau. That's very off-putting to Canadians. They should be more compassionate and soft like Justin Trudeau is. It's like, no, that's not really what people are looking for. And the most ridiculous one I saw today was an article, unsurprisingly, from the Toronto Star, written by Eric Blase. I don't even know. I can't read French names. I'm very sorry. But from the Toronto Star, titled Justin Trudeau versus Pierre Poilievre, Redefining the Family Man, in which this article legitimately tries to argue that because the single parent household rate in Canada has gone up over time, that somehow Canadians are much more comfortable with Justin Trudeau as a family man figure than Pierre Poilievre is. Like, and I don't really want to go into Justin Trudeau's separation in any way. It's not really my place to be commenting on. But the idea that the media thinks that somehow Pierre Poilievre, in his marriage with like being a very like solid family man, and all of the advertising that they put out very overtly making that one of the pitches about him as a person, that he's just a great father and husband, and then that he's also a sort of a hard-hitting politician wanting to make a lot of changes to the country. The Toronto Star article is arguing that somehow that Pierre Poilievre is a hypocrite and Canadians are going to hate this aspect of him, because he legitimately labels the way that Pierre Poilievre acts as a Jekyll and Hyde routine, pretending that somehow it's a contradiction in kind for Pierre Poilievre to be a great husband and family man, but then to be a tough critic inside Parliament and online. That I don't think that Canadians care. If anything, they are looking for someone to actually be speaking truth to power these days, when they have been very used to oppositional figures like Aaron O'Toole, who soft pedal every single bad piece of news that comes out about the Liberal government and effectively lets the Liberals off the hook. They're looking for someone who is tough. And it's strange to me that this Toronto Star author actually sees being a man and being a father as being, in a certain sense, weak. He thinks that being a tough politician, a tough critic of the Liberal government, is a contradiction with being a good father, which I think that just demonstrates to you the Liberals' very hyper progressive view of sort of social roles in our world these days. And I don't think most Canadians are on board with that, but they do actually believe, or I think at least they've tricked themselves into believing out of desperation, that somehow Justin Trudeau's new single father image is going to somehow win him more voters. I really don't see that as going to be like something that's going to materialize at all, especially with new Canadians who tend to have very strong family bonds. But whatever, I think that it's been very funny to watch the how frankly sweaty and desperate the mainstream media has gotten. And you can even see this in all the polls. Not only are the Conservatives doing far better in the polls than the Liberals, but Pierre Poilievre is actually outpolling Trudeau right now in terms of his approval rating. And that's pretty impressive considering I'd say a good 30% of the population, maybe even 40%, really don't know who Pierre Poilievre is right now. That's just the way that Canadian politics goes. I think I saw a chart the other day that showed that the top 10 podcasts in Canada for politics are all about the US. And that's not at all surprising that a lot of people a year on to Pierre Poilievre's leadership, or almost a year on, still don't even know who he is. And the fact that he's already beating Justin Trudeau in approval with a far smaller portion of the population to actually understand who he is and vote in favor of him is very telling. Justin Trudeau's approval rating, not only is it weak, he's only about 29-30% in the new Abacus data polls, but his disapproval rating is like 54%. And although that we're like a multi-party system and you can win with only 33% of the vote like the Liberals have done in the last couple of elections, I really don't think that that's going to be possible when you're actually competing against a fairly competent conservative leader who is able to actually make proper critiques of the Liberal government. I think that Pierre Poilievre is doing enough contrasting these days that I think anyone who's dissatisfied with the government is going to default to the Conservatives. Whereas before with Andrew Scheer and Aaron O'Toole, because they were weaker critics, it made it a little bit more up in the air who is kind of like the opposite of the Liberals, because that's effectively what happens every time people want a changing government. They want the opposite, they want to vote for whoever is the most unlike the current party, but can also win elections. That's, of course, why the PPC has not been benefiting at all from the downfall of the Liberal Party in the polling. But anyways, that's kind of just what I wanted to talk about today. And I'll probably put out some more videos today as well. But that's been the very funny thing I've been noticing is every single headline has turned into just sort of an attack on Pierre Poilievre as somehow being too brutish to run the country, with a comparison to the soft touch of Justin Trudeau, as if anyone is at all compelled by this appeal to a soft touch when they're, literally struggling to make mortgage payments and they can't buy groceries. It's ridiculous, but it demonstrates the very downtown Toronto worldview many of these people have. But that's going to be it for me today. You can donate to my Give, Send, Go legal fund in the description below. There's a link there, and there's also a link to the TNT email list. Of course, Bill C-18 has been making it very difficult for us to distribute our content at the National Telegraph. So if you sign up to that, we'll be sending you videos and our articles, every few days or so, just so that you can actually read some of our content rather than relying on an algorithm to actually show you whenever we post new things. Anyways, other than that, have a great day.